Hey guys, it's Miharu. I don't exactly know why I'm making this video, so bear with me. There's gonna be a lot of probably rambling, and by the end you might be wondering what my point was, but I probably will be wondering that as well. I guess you can say I just kind of felt like talking, getting some things off my mind. So, going back briefly to the Crash 2020 video that I did, I didn't really explain everything too well. What I meant was, I don't want it to come too soon if it comes too soon. Like, I don't want it in the middle of the year while CTR is still going on, or like it's just ended, because maybe it won't go for that long. If it comes at the end of the year, like as a launch title for the PS5, that would be great. I think that would be enough time, providing that CTR wraps up more toward the beginning of the year. I just want to have time mentally to prepare for it. Because I know that other people, when they're saying they're getting burnt out, they just mean the racing part, and not Crash in general. That part I understand, but I guess I was using what other people said as an example to make my personal feelings seem more valid, because I'm afraid that I'll get burnt out of Crash in general. I don't know why I think that would happen, but for some reason I'm afraid it will. And you can compare it to things like, well, Mario has a new game every year. Zelda, Call of Duty for people who like that or whatever. But I don't really play any of those franchises. So I've never really had the experience with a specific franchise where a game comes out every year and I've been expecting it, I guess. Because I know that people have been waiting for a new Crash platformer for a long time, and I want that too, but I don't really feel like I've been waiting as long, like craving it as much. Like, I really want it, I get that part, but I don't feel like I've been waiting and waiting and waiting, even though I have. And then about the Spyro thing, when I used it as an example of something that I'd like to see instead of Crash, that's basically all it was. It was just an example of something that wasn't Crash. I'm not saying, like, I want Spyro instead of Crash. Like, obviously I have a bias for Spyro, but at the same time, I don't really feel like I've been waiting a whole lot for a new Spyro game either. Not with bated breath or something like that. Like, a word that you can use to describe that it feels like you've been waiting your whole life or something like that. I kinda like to try and enjoy what I have and then move on to other things. And sometimes I move on from those things too fast, and it makes me feel bad that I never got to appreciate the thing when it was here. Like, take Medieval, for example. That was completely new to me. I had never played the original. But when it came out, CTR was still ongoing with the Spooky Grand Prix and going into the next one. So I didn't really get a chance to talk about Medieval. But even if I did, I don't really think it would matter, because, again, Crash was still going and is still going strong, and it's just like Medieval was a layer beneath it. Like, I want to talk about that game, but I can't because I've built myself up on talking about Crash, and that's big right now, so I have to keep up with that. And that kind of goes into this whole struggle with hype thing, which started with Spyro, because when I started my channel last year, or rather, like, revamped my channel into what it is, it was because I was excited for Spyro Reignited. And I had no idea that it would get so big, me just rambling about my thoughts and opinions about the game. It was just something I decided to do on a whim, and it went somewhere, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate all of you who subscribed and are commenting just because of me talking about my feelings about a game that I really like. Like, that's just kind of crazy to me that all this can happen so fast. So again, I want to thank you all. Thank you all so much. But in that, there's also a problem. And I feel not a lot of people want to talk about this too much because it's probably really boring to listen to and like it kind of brings everyone down. I'm not trying to do that. When I revamped my channel into talking about Reignited and I became a Spyro tuber, or at least I was. I don't know what I'd call myself now since I've kind of moved on to other things, but mostly Crash. I could see where a lot lot of people would get the idea that I'm just cashing in on the hype or something like that. Like the only reason that I'm talking about things is because I know it's popular and that I know I'll get a lot of views or whatever. But no, that's really not why I was doing it. Because like I said, I just did it on a whim because I was excited for it, so I decided to make a video talking about it. And I had no idea that it would spiral into this big thing. But that's really the struggle with hype is, on one hand, you want to keep talking about the thing that's big at the moment because it's a zeitgeist and everyone flocks to that. But at the same time, you want to talk about the smaller things as well. Or even just, not necessarily smaller things, but different things. Even things that could be just as big or just as popular as the thing that you're known for talking about. You want to switch to a different popular thing, but people may not be interested in that. And I know the whole point is to talk about the things you like and not care about what other people think. And it's not about the viewers or the money or anything like that, obviously. But it's hard because when you like a certain thing and you talk about it and you get feedback, you feel good about it, right? And it makes you want to keep talking about that thing. And then we talk about another thing and you don't really get any feedback. It might make you want to stop talking about that thing. I don't know if everybody can relate to this. I certainly can. In fact, yesterday I was just telling somebody that I'm really bad at initiating conversations because whatever I end up talking about, the other person may not be interested in. So if I ask them, oh, do you like this certain game? And they say, oh, I've never heard of it or I've never played it. I'll just be like, oh, you should check it out. And then I'll stop. Other people might be inclined to tell them more about the game and why they should check it out, why they should play it. But me, I just stop talking because I feel like I've been shot down. You kind of know what I mean? Like, that's sort of an anxiety thing, which I kind of have to get over, or not get over, more like try to deal with at least. But back to where this started, the whole reason that I was saying I don't want Crash in 2020, and what I mean is early or like in the middle of 2020, is because I kind of want a break in between to try and talk about something else, for something else to maybe get big and people to not shoot me down immediately because it's not Crash related. Because like I said, I'm afraid of suffering a series burnout. I want there to be a window of time where I don't have to talk about something Crash related or even something Spiral related. I want a point where I'm almost forced to talk about something different, and I want to see where that goes. And usually when that happens, when there's no new Crash thing, no new Spyro thing, I feel like, oh, I'm in a rut because I don't really know what to talk about because the hype things that I usually talk about, there's nothing going on right now. The hype for the one thing is over. Like I said, there's always highs and lows. And usually during those times, that's when I put up top 10 lists or something like that just to, you know, keep all of you occupied, I guess, in a way. Like, I want to make sure you all have something fun to watch. And there are a lot of ideas I have, scripts that I'm working on right now for other types of videos, like other character analysis videos that aren't Spyro related. And I'm working really hard on them, and I really hope that they go over well. So that's what this whole struggle with hype thing is. Do I continue talking about things that I know people will enjoy and that I enjoy talking about too? Or do I move on to things that I haven't been able to talk about but I'd really like to, but risk being shot down? I don't know. You may think that the answer is obvious, that it's just a matter of, well, don't give in to peer pressure and don't talk about what everyone else is talking about. But it's really not that simple. Because when I decide to put a video on YouTube about something, it's me wondering if I'll get a better response from people. Because sometimes I just talk to people privately about, you know, certain games or whatever that I don't talk about on here, and they can respond how they want, and it'll be one-on-one, and I'm fine with that. But sometimes I want to know what a wider range of people think, so I decide to make a video about it. But what's the point of making a whole video on something if I'm just gonna get the same type of feedback that I'd normally get talking about it to someone one-on-one or like a small group in Discord? I make a video about it and put it on YouTube for a reason. And when it doesn't perform well, it just kind of makes me think, well, maybe people aren't interested in this. And then that makes me not want to talk about it ever again. again, on YouTube at least. And don't misunderstand, I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad by thinking that, oh, maybe I should pay attention to the other types of videos. Like, no, don't do that. If you're not interested, you're not interested, like, don't click on it. That's fine, because that happens. And I know that. If you subscribe for a certain thing, obviously, you're gonna just watch the videos about that certain thing. And I know that because I'm kind of that way too. So obviously, I don't want to make you feel like you're pressured to do anything. I don't want myself to feel like I'm pressured to do anything. Like I said, this is just kind of me getting some feelings off my chest about how my whole channel was basically built on the hype for Reignited, and it went from there. So this is basically just a video, or rather, not even video, like probably just going to be more like a podcast type thing about truth, because I know there are other YouTubers who feel this way too, and hopefully I'll reach them with this, because I know people don't want to talk about it, because they're just like, well, I mean, it's my personal feelings, like, nobody needs to know this stuff. I'll just, bottle it up. And trust me, I feel that way too about a lot of things. Either I bottle things up, or I say things that sound ridiculous and then I try to validate them. I have a lot of that going on. So anyway, I'm gonna end it off here. You probably are really confused, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people just dislike this and think, like, what was she thinking making this? But hey, sometimes you just gotta say things. And I did. So anyway, subscribe, follow me on my social medias, join my Discord, do all that stuff, and I'll see you in the next real video. Until then, this is Miharu, signing off.